Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce Mr. Craig Caulfield.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Caulfield.
Oh, thank you, and welcome to you, and congratulations on your new role as chairman to this very important company.
Thank you.
Thank you. Peter King was called up 5 years ago. At the time, there was a lot of deep and disturbing failures inside of Westpac. Whilst there is more to do, Peter's steady, calm, inclusive management was something to watch. I acknowledge the important contribution that Peter King has made to uplifting culture, governance and accountability. And aside, thank you to the customer advocate, Adrian Ahern, who has also supported Peter King's changes there. Personally, I've appreciated being able to meet with you, Peter, and advocate for customers. And so I really wish you and your family, who had to take a 5-year hiatus, all the very best. So thank you. And that's on the back of, we've heard, you know, Mr. Starr, Ms. Maslevskis, Mr. Arkouzis, a lot of people thanking you. So it's a really nice message coming through. So thank you on that. I'd also like to welcome Anthony Miller as the new CEO, and I would be hopeful that I can meet with Anthony to continue advocacy on customer issues. To reference a couple of shareholders' questions, a gentleman over here was talking about dividends. My observation of dividends in the 4 major banks is that 3 of the 4 majors have increased their dividends, and Westpac's increased approximately 6%. ANZ's the only one that has actually decreased the dividend. And Westpac has a fully franked dividend, I think, and not all the banks have. I know ANZ is not fully franked. If I can get to key issues around customer service, the annual report talks about core values: passionately providing great customer service, page 10, trusted and accountability, page 44, and transparency, page 48. We aspire to the highest standards of corporate governance. Corporate governance is a system of policies and procedures based on our values and behaviours that underpin our activities. These comments through the annual report are positive, they're aspirational, and they're generic. And I find that the annual reports are a little bit too glowing and not really even-handed enough. Let me give you an example. Scams are reported, and we've seen some very good reportings and some wonderful stories where scams have been stopped. So what's reported is $150 million worth of scams have been stopped. What's not reported is what value of scams has gone through. We see that hardship complaints, there are 47,500 hardship complaints that Westpac, thankfully, is handling. But how many hardship complaints are put up that are rejected? So further to the person that was talking, there was a gentleman here before about Net Promoter Score, and that's one of my particular topics, page 22, and actively gathering feedback. The Net Promoter Score is just too generic. And as Mr. King said, it gives an indication, it gives a direction. So Net Promoter Score is useful. But when I see the annual reports, including Westpac's, Net Promoter Score features a prominent position without other metrics. So what I propose, I've talked about before, but I really want to cement this in, is that other metrics are required. So you have, for the board, you have a single page in the annual report on skills matrix to look at, and it's what we're strong on, and acknowledge what we're missing a bit, and where you'll be seeking skills for more directors. Can we have a single page report in the annual report that gives a more granular detail of customer experiences? You might have 20 items listed, and if all the banks could do this and put them in their annual report, we're going to be able to get much better insights. Those first words I read out are all glowing, they're all generic, but they really give us no insights. So you might have, for example, the number of customers we have, the number of loans that we have, housing loans versus investment versus business versus agriculture, the number of complaints we get in different areas, how long those complaints take, the number that goes to the customer advocate, how many complaints go on to AFCA, Well, we know that AFCA has received a record number of 100,000 complaints this year. So despite a lot of the good work that's happened in Westpac and other places, a lot of complaints are still occurring. In fact, they're getting higher. Court cases, those, how many times does Westpac take someone to court? How many times does someone else take Westpac to court? The hardship cases, breach reporting. We know that at the Royal Commission, breach reporting was a big issue where banks sometimes take up to 6 years to actually get to identify the breach report, have it lodged and addressed. If we have some sunshine and some sunlight over these figures that we can see, it helps you to hold yourself accountable. And they're the words we hear, is accountability. Whistleblowers, speak up reports. And then they all come back to, ultimately, the should we test that the lady mentioned before. So my question is, will you seriously consider a single page report that the shareholders can see that provides these metrics? I'm happy to work with you through those. I'm sure there's a lot of things that you know. And work with the ABA so that other banks are doing the same. So there are peer standards and peer reviews there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caulfield. Appreciate your comments and your observations on both Peter but also the annual report. Personally, I also find NPS scores just one measure, and they are often open for discussion as to how they were raised. Let us take on board your thoughts and your comments.
I might just, Craig, probably half of the metrics that you spoke about are actually in the sustainability data sheet. So there is some sunlight on those already. That's available on our website. But I take the point about make it easy, and whether it's in the annual report or not, I think is always a debate. It's getting pretty long as it is. We'll work out how we simply communicate some of those statistics.
Yeah, oh, thank you. I haven't read the sustainability report, and I guess that a lot of shareholders don't read that do have access to the annual report. So thank you that that's there. Yes, we want the annual report to be shorter, not longer, but it's the business of Westpac is lending. We've had 70 parliamentary inquiries in 15 years. These won't go away while outstanding customer issues are there. I'm talking all banks, not just Westpac. So having one page in an annual report that talks of customer issues, holds yourself accountable, compares yourself to peers, to me that's not a hard ask.
Let's take that on board, and let's have a look at it in the context of all the reports we produce. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.